Fissionary, a show exploring how nuclear powers your world. I'm Mary Carpenter.
And I'm Jordan Houghton. Let's jump in. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Fissionary. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Jordan. How's it going?
It's going really well, and I cannot believe we are at our season 4 finale.
I know. The season went by so fast, but we had such a variety of guests. I mean, we went to Mars. And now we're going to one of my favorite places, the college football field.
Yeah, if you're a football fan, today's episode is definitely for you. Today, we're taking a look at one of nuclear's more viral moments from the last year, the I Heart Nuclear sign that popped up on ESPN's College GameDay last season. And what started as one student's bold move created a ripple effect, with similar signs showing up at campuses across the country, including at Michigan, South Carolina, and my alma mater, Mizzou. Mary, did you get a chance to see it live, or how did you find out about it?
Yeah, I did. My husband and I actually watch Game Day every Saturday morning. We're big college football fans. So I was just watching it like any other morning, and I saw the sign and I was so pumped. It was so exciting to see it.
Absolutely wild. I didn't see it live, but I saw it on social media pretty quickly after it happened because I'm too online, as the kids say. But today we're actually talking to the student who made that first sign, Gabriel Ivory. He's a recent graduate of Texas A&M, and we are really excited to have a conversation about what gave him the idea to do that and how he feels about it turning viral and showing up everywhere.
Yeah, it really was everywhere. It was brilliant that they did it in the first place, and then they took it to the next level and put it all over social media. And he talks about how many impressions they got. Super impressive. Such a good idea. I love the creativity. I love bringing in all the students. I mean, it's such a great way to reach younger folks and get them interested in nuclear. It's brilliant.
Love it.
Today's guest is Gabriel Ivory, former engineering student and recent graduate from Texas A&M. He's also the vice president of NARO, the Nuclear Advocacy Resource Organization, and passionate voice for nuclear's role in our energy future. He's part of a wave of next-gen advocates bringing nuclear to unexpected places, from ESPN's College GameDay to state legislatures. His mission: make nuclear real, relatable, and radically accessible. Welcome, Gabriel. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you all so much for having me.
I'm a big fan of your work. I watch College GameDay every Saturday morning. I'm a Georgia grad, so
nice.
It's a religion. And I was so pumped to see the nuclear sign at GameDay. So we knew we had to get you on from that second. So tell us about where that idea came from and how you guys did it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was something that was a long time coming, and I had always seen, one of the best parts about College GameDay is the signs, and I've always seen those, and a lot of them are always talking about, what's going on with the game and football in general. And I felt like I wanted to put something about nuclear up there. So, and I wanted to, show it to the world, a place that nuclear had not been talked about. Like a lot of people, had not seen a nuclear side there. So that was something that was a long time in the making, and wanted to just get the word about nuclear out there.
Was that something you came up with on your own, or was there like a group of students or a larger effort behind it?
It was part of like a bigger, campaign with NARO, with our nonprofit. But it was a collaboration between me and my girlfriend and my sister to actually make the sign and to get up in the morning.
I love it. Was A&M the first school? I can't remember.
Yes, we were the first school. So it was the second. It was the first like regular season week. There was like a week 0 technically in Ireland the week before, but it was the first regular season week of college football, and our school was the first to host College GameDay that season. And so I was really lucky that it came to our backyard first.
So you've got a pretty unique perspective. I want to back up for just a minute, and we'll get more into the sign in a minute. But your dad works in oil and gas. You studied renewables, and now you're all in on nuclear. Walk us through that evolution. What clicked for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Conversations around energy has been something that I've had with my father and the rest of my family, like since I was really young, and like obviously with his work. And I feel like I was an engineer at heart, because of him. And so we would have those conversations and think about sustainability initiatives because he's originally from Maine and my mom's originally from Louisiana. So we're all very in tune with nature and we care a lot about the climate and all that. So those two kind of issues came together for sure. And so the conversations that we were having in high school and earlier, we just talked a lot about trends in the energy industry. And I was really interested in solar and wind. And it was actually a conversation that I had with one of my professors my freshman year, where I was telling her about my career goals and how I wanted to be like a project developer or an engineer for an energy company that specializes in some of these renewable technologies. And she felt like nuclear was a better alternative. And, like she was like, well, actually, I think, nuclear is a better solution. And so I did a little bit of my own research into that. And I definitely, came away with the same opinion as her. So really glad that I actually even had that conversation. But that's definitely what clicked for me. Like once I had, my beliefs about the environment and I had that engineering background, and I think nuclear engineering was just the perfect landing spot for me with all of that in mind.
So while at A&M, you co-founded the Nuclear Advocacy Resource Organization. Can you tell our listeners who haven't heard of the organization a little bit more about it, who's involved, and what the goal is?
Yeah, for sure. So we're made up of a board of directors, which is me and Veronica, the other co-founder, and we have a board of 5 people. We're all former, well, 3 of us are former students of A&M, and 2 are current students. And then we also have a wide member network across the country of pretty much mostly nuclear engineering students, but we also have some people with some policy background, and others, of course, like we're definitely open to anybody that's interested in nuclear. But yeah, that's kind of how we're made up. We're a national nonprofit based in Texas. We filed in Texas, and we're a 501c4, which means that we're allowed to have a little bit more political involvement. So that was some of the rationale. Yeah, it's made up of mostly people our age and even younger, just really concerned with the environment and climate change, and who know that nuclear is a really good solution for that. So that is the common ground that we all share.
You said Narrow led this campaign that
Yes.
came up with the idea for the sign.
Yes.
How did that come to be? Were you just brainstorming, and what other pieces were a part of this campaign?
Yeah. So a lot of the conversations that I had early on with the founder, Veronica Anila, she, had this vision for, at the time, a student organization focused on nuclear advocacy. Obviously now it's a nonprofit, but at the time it was a student org, and she wanted to remarket nuclear. And one of those conversations that we had was just like, how do we get people that have never heard of nuclear or don't have an opinion on nuclear? How do we get nuclear in conversations with them? How do we get it in front of their eyes? And so, I know that millions of people watch College GameDay every weekend, and that was something that was essentially brought to me. It was kind of a perfect storm. But yeah, it kind of all was happening at the same time, like the conversations about the sign and also Narrow. So I would say the idea of Narrow came before the sign, but it was definitely a collaborative effort.
I'm so curious how you coordinated with students at other schools. And how did you keep it going week to week? Because I saw multiple I Love Nuclear signs.
Luckily, they announce where they're going like a week in advance. So you have time. And so the day after I held up my sign, I was talking with some professors and some other people, and they were like, oh, well, this really ought to go to some other schools. Obviously, this is something that continues. And so for the first week after ours, it went to Michigan. And so I reached out to the president of their ANS chapter, Joseph Croteau, and I just said, hey, you guys have to do this. Like, somebody needs to figure it out. So one of y'all has to do it. And he was just like, all right, we're on it. So that's how Michigan did it. And then the week after, I reached out. I don't remember if it was Alabama or somewhere else, but I reached out and they were like, oh, we got it undercover. Like, we were already planning on doing that. So, so after that, awesome. It was self-sustaining, if you will.
When did you realize that your sign had gone viral? And what was that moment like?
It's pretty crazy. So the morning of, right? Like, I woke up so early in the morning, like 4 a.m, got to the actual site of Game Day at 5. And I just had a couple conversations with people nearby, and they're just like asking me, like the people immediately around me asking me, oh, what the heck are you bringing a sign that talks about nuclear to a college game day for? Like, what's the point of that? And so I remember like texting people after and saying, oh, well, like I had some really good conversations with a few people. And so we were just really excited about that, like just excited to have people right there notice it. But it was probably a few hours later in the day where I saw what was happening on like Twitter and LinkedIn and the actual like virality of it. And I just remember seeing so many like Facebook comments and DOE posts, and Miss America Grace Stanky reposted it. And it was just like, I don't know. I thought all of that was definitely really crazy at the time.
Did you guys keep track of your social media stats?
Yes.
I'm so curious what the reach was of this.
Yeah. So for my own personal social media posts, that went from like, I don't know, I maybe at the time would have like a couple hundred post views over the course of like a few months, but it got up to like 40,000 post impressions like in the next 3 days, essentially. So that was pretty cool.
It was so interesting to me. And I have to shout out to Mizzou because I am a former Tiger, but their head coach got interviewed on game day whenever game day got to their game in the season. I don't remember which week it was, but he actually took the time in the interview to mention that they have one of the largest medical nuclear research reactors in the country on their campus. So it actually went from starting with your sign to being part of the conversation. I'm curious, did you see that? What did you think when you heard him actually talk about it in the interview?
No, I didn't know about that. That's pretty crazy. But I know Missouri. It's funny because we played Missouri one of those weeks, and we had like SEC game day show up, and we had a few signs for that as well. And I just remember making a poster, and it's like making fun of Missouri. I didn't even know they had like one of the best medical research reactors, but I was just like, oh, like they don't like nuclear the way we like it. And then literally some former Missouri students replied and were like, no, our reactor is better than yours. And I'm like, okay, I don't, the one reactor.
A little competition.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think the response is to the signs of virality? What do you think that says about nuclear and how it's being perceived right now, especially with youth audiences?
I think that, obviously our generation is really involved in social media. And so that's the easiest way to reach someone at my age. I think stuff like this is important, but not specifically, the sign or whatnot, but just like an actual presence for nuclear on social media. Like the pros will talk for themselves. Like the pros of nuclear can speak for themselves, but just having it mentioned, the fact that the Missouri head coach took time to say that, and in a place where the person interviewing him probably did not care about that. But like just the fact that he even said it is definitely important, I think.
Do you think we're going to see more of this season? Do you think it's going to carry over?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. I don't know who has game day first. I don't know where it's going to be every week, but I'm going to be doing my best to reach out to people. And I know there's some other people out there that are going to help me out and say, hey, this isn't something that's going to be dead in the water after one season. We're going to keep this going, however long it needs to go.
That's awesome. I really hope I see more signs this season.
Me
it's
too.
So exciting. I need to get one at Georgia.
This is the moment. You got to help make it happen for this season.
I know. I'd be so proud to see it there.
Gabriel, I want to talk a little bit more about NARRO's work. You've been vocal about lifting state moratoriums on nuclear. Mm-hmm. How are you approaching that effort, and where are you seeing the most traction?
Yeah, in terms of these moratoriums, there's definitely a few states that have a culture that is open, I think, to lifting the moratorium. Obviously, it's happened in a couple states already, but just building on that precedent of those states that previously had moratoriums and then lifting them would just be really beneficial, because the way that the legislature is written is so important. Like that is something that you have to do so much research on just to figure out, okay, what is the bill history? What would it look like to overturn that, if you will? And so that's been something that has been really fruitful for us to look into research. And just learning a lot for ourselves, but also like how are we gonna? What is our position in this? What is our role in overturning those moratoriums?
So we've had the chance to speak with some other young advocates in the space, like Kaylee Cunningham, Grace Stanky, who you mentioned earlier, Charlie Frisk. You're part of this wave of Gen Z advocates making noise in a space that's historically been pretty quiet. What do you think is fueling this generational shift towards nuclear?
I think it's all of them. I think it's a lot of other things as well. I think there's a lot of interest not only at the so I would say from the perspective of our generation, something that's really important is climate change. Like that's been in our face for so long, and that's been something that we have been taught and have realized is a very important issue. And so we are not opposed to any real solutions that could help us to navigate that. So nuclear is one of those solutions. Obviously, I think it's the best one, and there's a little less apprehension towards it because we didn't grow up with the nuclear arms movement being so prevalent. Like for people our age and younger, it's not the same conversation that's had around it. And so there's a little bit of, like you mentioned earlier, influencers just making nuclear part of the public conversation and making it casual. But then there's also a lot of interest from companies. I think that brand recognition is really important. I think companies like Amazon, Microsoft, a lot of these tech companies that have put their foot down, put their money where their mouth is, and have started to invest in nuclear. I think people see that and they're like, oh, well, if this company is interested in that and they've been very successful and they obviously have done really well, then they're not dummies. They have people out there that are making good decisions for them. So, and I think they want to see that continue. And if it can work together, that's really important.
So you mentioned tech companies, and we've heard you talk about nuclear's potential to address everything from poverty to powering AI infrastructure, which is what the tech companies are looking at using nuclear for. So I'm curious, what does that big picture vision look like for you, where nuclear fits in?
I think that the most important issue facing us today is like energy reliability. And I think that obviously nuclear is the most reliable source of power. And so the more nuclear is on the grid, the better. So first and foremost, that's the big picture issue that I think we're looking at. And yeah, I would say that it can solve multiple issues at a time. So it can provide reliable energy for people, and it can also provide reliable and clean energy for these massive power consumption heavy, very thirsty data centers, if you will. And so nuclear can wear a lot of hats in that space for sure.
So, nuclear advocacy often gets tripped up by fear or outdated narratives like The Simpsons. In your view, what are the biggest challenges in reaching younger people and moving them to become more nuclear curious or more interested in the industry?
I think just getting them to realize why they should care, right? Because there's so many, I think like I was saying earlier, and what I meant to expand on is nuclear has obviously a lot of its pros. And I think that we know that, and we talk about that to each other a lot. But getting people who previously had no opinion of or no say in nuclear, right, and not realizing how directly it affects them, just getting those people to understand why it matters to them specifically, I think is really important. So challenge wise, I think that is just, changing how you speak about it depending on who you're talking to, right? Like so a lot of people, obviously, as a generation, we have a common ground, but everybody's obviously very different. And so talking to people about things that they care about and having your message look like something that they would want to listen to.
I'm really curious, Gabriel, when you're talking to people, your peers, other people in your age group, do you have to start the conversation with talking about why they should care about climate change or energy security or AI data demand? Like, do you have to start there and explain that? Or when you're opening conversations, do you find that your peers are already educated on that and you can get right into nuclear? Or do you have to start even bigger picture?
Yeah, it's more convincing them to let me talk their ear off about nuclear more. But yeah, I think they are definitely educated in what is important now and the climate change and energy security. I think they understand that, and then they understand the benefits of nuclear. I think it's just bridging that gap is what the conversation is.
What do you think's working well to convince younger people to become interested in nuclear? Is it the influencers? Is there any specific campaigns you've seen? Obviously, GameDay was a success, but what else?
I really like Nuclear for Australia, Will Shackle. It takes like very easily digestible content forms on social media and just takes it into the nuclear space, right? And so for me, that's really been successful for not just nuclear, but for like a lot of other issues, right? And so taking that same strategy but applying it for our purposes, if you will, I think has been really successful.
So you just graduated, and congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment and milestone for you. What are you excited for next?
I'm really excited. So I start working for Constellation in August, working on the restart of the 3 Mile Island Unit 1 for the Crane Clean Energy Center. I'm really excited for that project and just learning a lot and being a young engineer in the nuclear energy industry and just getting to be a part of the industry that I've like talked about for so long and looked at as the future for not only me, but for the rest of my generation. And, I've thought about that for so long. So getting to be a part of that is really exciting for me, and getting to have a different perspective that will help me in some of my advocacy efforts, right? Like to have better conversations with people because I know a little bit more. I actually work for some of these companies. I see what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. I'm definitely excited for that, not only for my own personal growth, but like just to make Narrow better and to help my generation.
That's so cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So what's next for Narrow?
So for Narrow, we have a very bold vision and strategy for what we want to do. I mean, we essentially see ourselves as like a gap filler for all of nuclear advocacy. We don't really pigeonhole ourselves into one thing. Like we want to make sure that we're hitting everything. Like so what that's looked like is, policy engagement or grassroots activism. Like it can kind of be anything. And so we definitely have a lot planned, but we just want to make sure that we're doing things that are important for nuclear advocacy. Like we just want to be like efficient with it, I guess. And I'm not saying like anyone isn't, but I want to make sure we continue with that very simple but very aggressive strategy of getting nuclear to those who previously don't have an opinion or even have a negative opinion, but like hitting on those fronts for sure.
So what gives you the most hope for the future of nuclear advocacy?
I think just the fact that there's so many people like talking about it. And I know that that's obviously a function of the circles that I'm in, but I even have people, they're studying finance at A&M or they're studying finance pretty much anywhere. And they reach out to me and they say, hey, I want to learn more about nuclear, because that is something that is being talked about right now more than pretty much ever. And companies that they recognize are investing in it, companies that they want to work for, right? So it's like there's a personal incentive for them. But I think just the fact that it has so much sway and influence in the financial world as well, not only the energy industry.
So if there's a college student listening to this and they want to get involved in the College GameDay sign organization, what do they do? How do they get involved?
I definitely recommend, taking initiative if there's something that you're really passionate about, personally, and not letting someone stop you from doing it or casting any doubt over you. But if your passion is nuclear energy and nuclear advocacy, definitely reach out to us, Narrow, nuclearadvocacy.org. And, obviously the sign was really grand and was seen by a national audience, but I think local community engagement goes a long way and is definitely, I think, not necessarily easier, but is closer to you and more realistic. I can't make a huge change in what's going on in North Dakota, but I can make something happen here in Texas. So I think get involved in your local community and see what the needs are there for sure.
I love it.
Great message. I mean, it started with just your sign, your one sign, and look what it's grown to already. I really can't wait for this next season to see what we see and hear.
Yeah, me as well. Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Last question. A book that you're reading or read recently that you want to recommend to our listeners?
The book Mal by Chase Cormier, M-A-L by Chase Cormier. It's a French book. My brother wrote it, and it's in French.
What?
And so he's explained to me a little bit about it, but I I don't know that much because I can't read French. So, and I'm trying to.
No way. Is it going to be translated?
It is going to be translated. And so, I feel a little bit bad that I haven't taken each picture and translated it, but it is my brother's book and it's in the running for Reader's Choice Award right now.
Incredible recommendation. Was totally not expecting that.
Yeah.
No. Not at all.
That is fabulous.
I'm currently reading The Three-Cornered War by, I forget the author, but last name Nelson. It's a really interesting book. I made a trip to New Mexico earlier in March, and I'm just really interested in like what was going on in the West at the time of the Civil War, and that's literally what this book is about. So I've been reading a little bit of that.
Oh my gosh, very cool. Great recommendations.
Yeah, of course.
I love it. We got 2 this time. It's great. Thank you, and good luck with your new career. It's so exciting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing conversation. I'm so inspired by Gabriel. Just that one sign turned into such a huge viral moment for Nuclear last season. Thank you to Gabriel for bringing his energy, literally and figuratively, to this conversation today.
I know, it was great. It was so fun talking to Gabriel, and I really hope to see it again this season. We're so close to kickoff for this season. And if there's any Georgia Bulldogs out there, would love to see a sign in Athens at my alma mater.
I agree. I hope we can keep the momentum going. And as we tune into Game Day this season, we get a chance to see schools all over the country continuing what Gabriel started.
Yeah. And this was such a great episode to end on for season 4. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We've had so much fun with you. We've talked about everything from used fuel to big tech to college football. It's been fun. So we really appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah, thanks so much for sticking with us. We're going to be on a short break before we kick off and come back with season 5. So if you haven't caught up on all the episodes, you're going to have a little bit of a chance to do that. So make sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode, and we'll be back with you soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye, Fissionaries.